Now, originally I wasn't going to do this video because, quite frankly, I couldn't really be bothered. I thought this video would just be meaningless and there was no point doing it, but I thought, well, I just want to get my opinions across. This isn't going to be some edited video, this is just going to be me talking for a bit because I just want to tell you guys my opinions about what is going on right now. And this probably won't be seen by many people, but who cares? So, I'm filming this on Sunday, the 21st of June, day after Arsenal Football Club embarrassingly lost 2-1 in the last minute to Brighton and Hove Albion, which it hurts. Being my local team, a lot of people I know support Brighton. It hurt, if I'm not going to lie, but it's the next morning. I've managed to calm down now because I was really annoyed at the time, but I've calmed down a bit now. Enough to film this video, and it's let's be honest, things need to change. I like to think of myself as a positive fan. I usually go into games thinking that we can at least get something. Even in the City game when we lost 3-0, I was positive that we could at least get a result. I don't think we're going to win, but I think we can go there and get a draw. Obviously, it didn't happen. A certain Brazilian centre-half ruined that for us. We won't talk about that. And I was confident in the Brighton game, as you should be. You know, we're Arsenal, they're Brighton. No disrespect to Brighton, but we should be beating them. I don't care if it's away or it's at home. We should be easily beating them, getting 3 points, moving on to the next game. And I think that game just summed up the club in the last few years and of just this weak, spineless mentality, which, you know, we've adopted ever since, I'd say ever since we moved to the Emirates. I think, obviously I'm not old enough to remember Highbury, but it's clear to see that our demise and downfall corresponds with the move to the Emirates Stadium. You know, our move there was to make sure we could compete with all the other top European sides, because we were a top European side at the time. You know, a few years before that, we had just gone the whole season unbeaten, winning the league. We'd started building the ground at that time. And even though in this final season at Highbury we did only finish 4th, we were still a good side. We still had prime Thierry Henry in the side. We still had likes of Kolo Touré, Ashley Cole was still there at that time. So we still had a really strong side, and you know, when we moved to the Emirates and took a large chunk of our finances out of the club, we weren't able to spend big in the transfer market for a long time, and I think that kind of halted us. But Wenger, still, with poor players, and let's be honest, a lot of times a one-man team, whether it was Fabregas or Van Persie carrying the team, they were really only shining lights in those first few Emirates years. I mean, apart from the likes of Adebayor and Nasri briefly, but for a long time it was either Fabregas or Van Persie, which was our really only 2 really quality players, because we weren't able to spend in the transfer window, and we already had those players from, you know, before we moved to the ground. And Wenger, still with a poor squad, still consistently delivered Champions League football, and I think a lot of fans sleep on that now. And yes, the last few years, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, was poor. But I think, looking back on it, I think he deserves so much more respect. And I felt like this at the time. I thought the disrespect he was getting from certain fans was unjustified, and I think more of it now. I think a lot of people are starting to think that, and I feel like he should have left after the Villa Cup final, the 4-0, because I feel like winning 4-0 in the Cup final, we finished 3rd that season. That was probably the best season I remember. You know, 3rd and a FA Cup win, really decent season. But again, it was still that sort of like, oh, we didn't properly train for the league that season, so it was still a poor season. But looking back on now, that was a really good season. You know, that team was really good. Sanchez, first season in England, nearly 30 goals. Ozil was brilliant. Walcott contributed really well, and you had likes of Cazorla in midfield, really good. Koscielny was brilliant, and that was a really good team, and we had a good season. But I feel like Wenger should have left then, but he stayed for a few more years. The season after, the 15-16 season, didn't win any trophies, but we finished 2nd in the league. I really feel like we should have won the league that year. Don't get me wrong, Leicester, brilliant achievement, but I do feel like that was our time. You know, when Welbeck scored that goal against Leicester at the Emirates, I thought that was it. We were going to push on, we were going to win that league. Unfortunately, we bowled it. We showed weak mentality, and that's what's happened again in the last few years. And then the season after, the 16-17 season, was poor. We finished outside the Champions League spots for the first time in nearly 20 years. However, we did all get a brilliant FA Cup victory in the final over Chelsea, which was brilliant. So that kind of saved our season a bit and kind of overshadowed the fact that we weren't in the Champions League anymore. Because that was such a brilliant FA Cup win. Not only was it winning a trophy, it was also beating Chelsea is always nice, and we stopped their chance of getting a double, which was brilliant. And then the season after that, the 17-18 season, very poor. 6th place, no trophies. Europa League semi-final defeat to Atletico Madrid really hurts. I remember that first leg at the semi-final, the amount of chances we missed, we should have gone through. Should have been in the final. We'd have played Marseille, and Marseille, very good club. I think we could have beaten Marseille, and we would have won the league, Europa League that year, even without Aubameyang. Because remember, we signed Aubameyang, but he was cup tied. He couldn't play in that competition because he had done for Borussia Dortmund. So that was a poor season, and Wenger left at the end of that season. And then we brought in Unai Emery. I remember at the time thinking, this guy he recently been sacked by PSG, but he won a treble there, which I guess is decent, but at PSG you can't expect trophies every year. Was a winner in the Europa League several times with the likes of Sevilla. And I thought, this guy's got decent pedigree. I think he can do a good job. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out. Apart from a good start and a brilliant 4-2 win. I say a good start. We started poorly, but then we went on a really good unbeaten run, including a brilliant 4-2 win against Spurs. But apart from that, not good. And then we lost the Europa League final really, really crushingly against Chelsea 4-1 in Baku, which, that hurt. That really hurt. But there was still a bit of optimism, even though we ended the season on a really, really low point. And we didn't call off our Champions League, only getting 5th. But there's still a bit of optimism. And we started the season after that brilliantly. Went into summer transfer window, brought some brilliant players, like of Nicolas Pepe for a £72 million fee club record, Kieran Tierney from Celtic. There was a lot of optimism during that summer. However, when we get onto this season, after a decent start, 2 wins, a good 1-0 away win at Newcastle on the opening day, and then a 2-1 win over Burnley, which new signing Dani Ceballos put in an absolute masterclass against them. Things were looking up. But then we lost to Liverpool 3-1, but even though we lost that game to Liverpool, it's fine. Liverpool, in this season they're absolutely been brilliant. Fully deserve that league title. Well done, Liverpool. But then things start to unravel. A 2-2 draw against Spurs, North London derby. Came back from 2-0 down. Frustrating game, but we'll take it. Then 2-2 draw to Watford, in which we were 2-0 up and absolutely bottled it. That's when things started to change. 1-0 loss to Sheffield United week after. And this is where things started to turn for the worse. We went, I think it was 2 months without a win. Emery was sacked, brought in club legend Freddie Ljungberg as a assistant manager as a temporary replacement. First game, disappointing 2-2 draw against Norwich. Not great. And but he did get a 3-1 win over West Ham, which was very good, but still was struggling. And then we brought in Mikel Arteta, again, former player. Didn't have the same kind of club legend status as Ljungberg, but he'd been working under Guardiola at City, who had just beaten us 3-0 at the Emirates. And we'd heard good things about his managerial, ability. First game, unfortunately, 2-1. First game was a 1-1 draw at Bournemouth. Disappointing, should have won, but there was promising signs. First home game, 2-1 loss to Chelsea, in which, yes, it was absolutely gutting to lose late on to Chelsea, but positive signs. We went 1-0 up, we were playing really well, but in the end, I think we kind of just tired ourselves out. And then we got a brilliant 2-0 win against Manchester United. What an atmosphere that was, what a night that was. Brilliant. And we won a good run. 1-0 win against West Ham, a few decent little results here and there. But then, coronavirus stopped everything. Mikel Arteta tested positive, stopped the entire Premier League for 3 months, and when we came back with a bit of optimism, we're still unbeaten in 2020, and then we lose 3-0 to Man City with David Luiz putting in an absolutely horrible performance, mistake for the first goal, and then getting sent off and giving away a penalty, game over, done. But I was okay with that, because yes, we lost 3-0, but it's Man City, and it's not like our entire team was the reason. It was mainly only down to David Luiz, who ruined things for us. So I wasn't too annoyed about that. And now we come to yesterday, Brighton away. Like I said, all due respect to Brighton, got some decent players, but we should easily be beating them. The players we've got one of the best strikers in Europe in Aubameyang. We've got one of the best goalkeepers in the league in Leno, and we've got like Pepe, and some really really good players. But it goes back to that down of mentality. The mentality at the club is something which we need to change, and that is, I think, the main talking point for me in this video is the mentality of the players and the club needs to change very quickly. We don't go into games now thinking we can win, because we're just bottle jobs. We have a weak mindset. Other teams look at us and think, oh, Arsenal, we could, if they might not turn up, we can easily win. 20 years ago, people looked at us and thought, oh no, Arsenal are coming. That's not good. We don't want to play them because they'll wipe the floor with us. Now it's the other way around. No matter what team we're playing, they'll look at us and think we can easily beat them on our day. That's not what we should be doing. We should be beating teams we should be beating. And we've just not been doing that. Too many times in the last few years we've been losing or drawing games where we should be winning. And again, it was the case yesterday. I'm not going to touch on the Maupay incident because I think I talked about that enough on social media. But one thing I will talk about is I won't mention him, but I will mention Leno. This is what worries me the most. Leno this season. Yes, Aubameyang's been scoring the goals, but for me, Leno is undoubtedly our player of the year. If it wasn't for him, we'd be stuck lower than 10th this season. We would have lost at least 6 or 7 by Man City last week. He's honestly most underrated player we've got, Leno. One of the best goalkeepers in the league, in my opinion. And losing him for what looks to be for a few months is absolutely devastating, and really worries me because, yes, Emi Martinez is a very decent keeper, made one really decent save early on when he came on against Brighton. He's nowhere near as good as Leno. And what if Emi Martinez gets injured? Who else? We got Matt Macey. He hasn't played for us. I think he played one game for us ever. He's been at the club for like 5 years. So it's not looking good in that department. And even there was a moment of brilliance in the Brighton game. Nicolas Pepe with an absolute brilliant goal to put us 1-0 up. Really, the Brighton game, I think was down to just us missing chances. We missed so many chances. Saka was really unlucky, hit the bar. He was brilliant. Aubameyang missed a few chances. Lacazette had a premature tap-in with a header from about 5 yards out. Didn't get enough power on it. Easy save from Matty Ryan. But overall, I felt fair play to Brighton. They defended really well. There was one chance where Aubameyang played through Lacazette. He got a shot away. It was a fantastic recovery challenge, I think, from Adam Webster. Brilliant defending. But we should have won that game. And they got a pretty lucky equaliser, but I thought Holding should have done better with it. But whatever. And then we just switch off for the last 30 seconds of the game. McAllister plays a ball through to Connolly, flicks it onto Maupay, scores, game over, 2-1 loss. Dreadful. And that is where I'm going to talk about what needs to be changed. I do believe that we need a full rebuild next season. I think this season is done, dusted. Whatever happens, because we're not going to get, unless we win every single game left, which includes going to Molineux, going to Spurs, going to the new Spurs Stadium, and playing Liverpool. 3 really tough, and Leicester. We've got 3 really tough games in our next 7 in the league. We're not going to win. I reckon we can win. We'll only win at least 3 of them, which means I think we just go to finish mid-table this season, which is obviously terrible. Not where we want to be at all, but we just need to, whatever. The only redeeming thing is that we're still in the FA Cup quarter-final, and I think we can beat Sheffield United, because they won't have any fans at Bramall Lane. But I don't think we'll win the FA Cup. If we do get through semi-final, we're either going to be facing one of Spurs, Liverpool, Man City, and Spurs in it. I don't even know, but I know Liverpool, Man City, I think are still in it. We won't be beating them. We're not going to be winning the FA Cup anytime soon. So we just need to just not even think about, if we get, I don't even mind not even getting into Europe, because remember what happened to Chelsea, 15-16 season, they finished 10th. Next season, storm the league, 30 wins, won the league, nearly won the double if it wasn't for us winning the FA Cup. I don't think that will happen to us. There's no way we're going to be winning the league next season. But if we're not in Europe, we can focus on the league, and who knows, we might that might be a blessing in disguise, but I definitely feel like a lot of things need to change, and one of the things is the hierarchy and owners at the club. It's clear that Stan Kroenke doesn't care about the club, but his son Josh Kroenke has repeatedly said he's the one that cares. And to be fair to him, he regularly turns up to games, regularly turns up to training sessions, but that's all good, turning up, right? But to us fans, to show if you do care, putting money in. Because we're looking at our rivals, we're looking at Chelsea, signing like Ziyech and Werner. Man United signed Bruno Fernandes, who's made such an impact to them. They might be getting likes of Jadon Sancho as well. We can't just sit back and watch our rivals get these quality players. We need defenders. We need Upamecano. We need Thomas Partey. We need these quality players, and we can still attract them. Yes, we won't be in the Champions League, but just the name and the club of Arsenal should be able to attract these players or by themselves. It's clear Thomas Partey wants to move, and that alone, and it just shows that yes, we're not in European competition, but we are still a big club. We can still attract these players, and we need to do that. Mikel Arteta, who, yes, did make some shaky decisions against Brighton, I definitely feel like we should have brought Martinelli on because we needed a goal. Where was Martinelli? I think Ozil should have played, at least come off the bench because we needed his creativity. But he's only been a manager for a few months. We will learn from this. He'll keep getting better, and I do still think he could be the right man for the job, but he needs support from the owners. He needs support from, if Stan doesn't care, he needs support from Josh, Edu, Raul, Vinay. It's up to them guys to say, look, we need to support Mikel, and we need to give him what he needs in the transfer market. We need defenders. We need goals from midfield. We need, if Aubameyang's going to leave, we need a replacement for him. But right now, it's not looking it will happen. But I hope we can only hope. We can only hope that things will get better. But if I'm being honest, I'm not really bothered about what happens for the rest of the season. We can finish 16th for all I care. It doesn't matter. We're going to finish mid-table, whatever. We need to just full rebuild next year. We need to get Saka and Aubameyang tied down. Thing is, if Aubameyang leaves, it's okay because if we can get at least like 30, if we can get money from him, it's fine. I think Saka on a new contract is just as, if not more important than Aubameyang. We need to get Saka down on a new deal. He is the most exciting prospect we've got at this club, and it's an absolute travesty that we keep doing this with our key players. We keep letting them run their contracts down, and we don't try to keep them. We need to be doing that. We need to be keeping Saka. We need to be keeping Aubameyang if we can. But I think Saka is the real one we need to time down. We need to time down on a new long-term deal because he was one of the only shining lights against Brighton, and he looks to be an absolutely brilliant player. But it's clear that things need to change. I thought I'd just get this video out to explain what I think. Hope you enjoyed. I didn't. I'll see you in another video. Peace out, guys.